First game, third set.
I suppose it's liable to be about 60% in one game by any mathematical calculation, but I've just felt, in fact, through the tie-break even, there was a beginning of a better rhythm. Henman 1-love. Indeed, Krajicek had a golden fortnight at Wimbledon, but he doesn't always play that way, and he didn't against Edberg. And then he beat Horhus.
Yes, and particularly as Krajicek had a good winning record against Edberg this year. And the double irony for those who don't know is the fact that it was Edberg and Krajicek who were the representatives of the Association of Tennis Professionals at the redraw, or who went to the USTA and said, could you please make a redraw? And so for them then to meet each other in the first round.
Game, Edberg.
Love game to Edberg, 1 game all.
1 game all.
Just his second love game in this match, and prior to it, in 41 games leading up to this match, he'd served 7 love games, so just about 1 every 6 games.
15 love.
Edberg certainly looking the wetter of the two. Henman retains his freshness.
Love game to him then, and Henman looking to me very much at home at the moment. 2-1 he leads, third set. They're locked to 1 set all. A consideration here. No break of serve yet, third set.
15 love.
Yes, of course, as the match stretches out, any existing injury might begin to be felt. Henman, we know, has come into this tournament with just a bit of a strained thigh, whereas as far as we know, Edberg is free of any problems.
14-15.
They groped for that a bit. They both just remembered experiencing, I think, a very slight emotional lull. Comes and goes over a long match. Concentration can vary. Intensity. Two games all. Third set, 1 set all.
2 games all.
Yes, I think if I were Edberg, I'd be looking to do a bit of pouncing now. Of course, I know he's inclined to look to do that from the start, but there were just suggestions in that game that Henman was stretching for stuff, just looking to me a little tired. Because there's a state of mind too where experience up to a point can really help you. Edberg, a veteran of matches played over 5 sets, and certainly matches that have gone to a 5th set. Whereas if you think of it, Henman's only ever played 1 match, that match against Kafelnikov at Wimbledon this year, that was resolved over 5 sets.
All.
And again, 3 missed first serves by Henman. They may have played exactly the same amount of tennis, but given that Edberg's first serve percentage is a lot higher, Henman has actually played a lot more shots. He's just got to start making many more first serves.
That another point won by Edberg's canny plan. Come on, says Pickard, sensing this could be a turning point in the match. Oof.
Yes.
Yes, just a little bit more flint there suddenly.
Yes, flint, and picking a big target, the middle of the goal mouth.
That was a good try. Foxy lob.
Yes.
Well, this was really instinct here, perhaps even memory by Edberg. I don't think he could believe how well he'd hit it. And you can see it delaying even his approach to the net, perhaps as a result.
Advantage Henman.
Just 6 aces from him. Round about here in a long match like this, that you have to find new reserves of desire. That was quite beautifully played.
Advantage Henman.
Yes, we saw him blow just before the point, Edberg. Whew. And in that point, Henman always the aggressor.
Yes.
What Edberg is doing pretty well on his ground strokes, although he's suddenly now looking wearier than I thought Henman was looking a moment or two ago, is getting really good depth. Not hitting them very hard, but keeping them deep, close to the baseline.
Well, line, I think.
Advantage Henman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this was such fine play by Henman, stretching the right leg all the way across there, getting behind it, therefore, using some of Edberg's pace.
And that was a good serve and a very good game and an important game, I think, for Henman to win. 3-2, he leads now third set. They're 1 set all. It's not as if Tim Henman's going to get a break after this, after the US Open, whatever happens here today. He's got the revived tournament at Bournemouth at the West Hants Club on clay, the slowest of the surfaces, against a pretty world-class field, if anybody's going to go along. And the week after that onto grass, the fastest of the surfaces, so there's going to be a lot of adjusting done pretty smartly over that period. That's number 1 court, the last competitive tennis ever to be played there on number 1 court at Wimbledon, and that's Great Britain against Egypt, a promotion match from one of the lower divisions in the Davis Cup. Henman Rosetsky leading the British team against the Egyptians.
Love.
And we're showing that, by the way, on Sky, that match at Wimbledon. Historic occasion.
Love.
Yes, missing a forehand, a little similar to the ones that Edberg had hit. And Edberg, the first one, really hit pretty well, a sort of inside-out type forehand. And then quickly duplicating it.
Yeah, quick-witted.
13-15.
A sign of chirpiness that shows a certain freshness.
Yes, quick all round. Hands. That's the sort of talent that people really enthuse over.
(40-15). Game Edberg.
3 games all, and a match that couldn't be more finely balanced than that. The old champion, one of the most respected and revered in modern times, against the youngster coming up. British tennis hopes rekindled, very much rekindled. How much does Edberg want it?
15-love.
Somebody in the crowd crying out a while ago to Edberg that the whole crowd's behind you.
30-love.
But I'm sure the keen eye amongst you will have spotted various English officials, even in the picture there. Alan Moulds and his wife, the Wimbledon referee, the chief executive of the All England Club. Chris Gorringe is there, the president of British Tennis is there.
Love.
They're not taking a breather, nothing like that, but it's a different phase of the match, this one.
Game of Henman.
4-3. Henman leads in the 3rd set. One set all.
leads 4-3.
Does Henman think, well, I've got many years ahead of me? He certainly has. He's probably not going to peak for 2 or 3 years yet. Who wants it the most? Got that move off to a tee.
15-love.
Well, he was doing his thigh stretching exercises a short time ago, Edberg, so I was looking for signs of tiredness here. But just about every shot so far in this game has been middled.
Love.
Henman thought the serve was long, I think. One game. 4 games all. 1 set all.
4 games all.
Take your pick.
Well, they're certainly following each other. When one serves one, the other in this set has tended to serve a love game.
15-love.
Of course, where Henman has played just a little bit more tennis is that he was in the doubles, played a fine doubles match too, with Patrick Galbraith against Elting and Harhouse. Might well have beaten them, had a break in the final set, had an edge in the tiebreaker, had a mini break in the tiebreaker.
15 all. 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 15 all.
5 double faults from Henman. Oh, that was sublime.
15-30.
Yes, and look how Edberg stays with the shot. This is how well balanced he was. He set his foundation and stood by it, as opposed to that forehand by Henman.
The crowd suddenly roused again here because they sense that Edberg has a chance. He certainly has a chance here. 4 games all, third set, 1 set all. And he can break right now and then serve for the set. Oh, too much, too much. Edberg breaks, 5-4, his serve to follow. Looks like 2 sets to 1 to him.
Edberg leads 5 games to 4, third set.
The big
Tie break, and he's serving now for the third set, a lead of 2 sets to 1. As a match, it remains fitful if you divest it of all its implications. Oh.
I think Tony Pickard finds it difficult to laugh because he realizes that Edberg was in grave danger. But that wasn't a clever shot in the circumstances by Henman. And then trying the lob volley again was not bright. Non-percentage shots at a stage like this. You just want to play straightforward tennis and keep the pressure on Edberg, who notoriously gets edgy and nervy at these stages and has for a few years now.
That's the right thing, keep the ball in play, hit it deep.
15 all.
Yes, these are the instincts really that make him such a formidable talent. Even though he's lost the first point, going for it. He wants to keep that in mind now.
It's not the serve it was a few years ago. Doesn't have the penetration, doesn't have the bounce. But he knows he needs it now. That's very good. A familiar routine, but brilliant in its execution. Two chances for Edberg to take a lead of 2 sets to 1. Called out. 2 sets to 1, having lost the first set. Edberg once more.
Well, I think over the previous 2 sets, Edberg was just given too many chances to break the Henman serve. He eventually did so at his 9th break point, but he'd squandered 8 of those chances at Edberg.
Love 15.
Well, that's how much he wants it.
Well, they're standing up to Edberg in some areas of this stadium court. And of course, this is what the inspiration of a 2-1 lead will do. He wouldn't have had that energy had he been down 1-2.
David Felgate, coach to Tim Henman down there. Well, that's just superlative. It's his great shot, it's his party piece, that and the backhand volley. And, the two shots that he'll always be remembered for. Two shots and the sunniest of personalities and dispositions. And Edberg breaks tellingly right at the start of the fourth set. His morale high after taking the third set. One love he leads. It's certainly three of the matches against Chang and against Krajicek I remember the best. Came back when you would have thought he was completely spent. Edberg proves that you can have manners and charm and yet deep wells of ambition.
I'm not sure what the shake of the head for, but this is the sort of reply to the bruising body blow of two lost serves, two successively lost serves.
30-15.
Particularly when you should recall that Henman hasn't lost his serve prior to these last two services since the third game of the match. Well, good resistance by Henman, because it just struck me prior to Edberg hitting that last forehand that he's hitting the ball as solidly off the ground as he's done all match long.
Love Edberg leads. And 2-1 leads.
Stunning low forehand volley there by Edberg. I really thought Henman had him. And even if I gave him the chance of making it, Edberg. I thought he'd push it back, instead of which he really wrapped it back deep.
15 love.
Of course, the difference between winning and losing that set means that if you win it, you see the ball like a watermelon, and if you lose it, you tend to see it a bit like the size of a golf ball.
Two-one. Fourth set. Henman in the lead. Edberg in the lead, 2-1. See what happens.
Well, he certainly played a pretty good-looking game there. It wasn't the game of anyone defeated. Remember the way he tends to play some of his matches. It's almost as if there's a bit of the masochist in him. Won the first set against Kafelnikov at Wimbledon, then proceeded to lose, won the first two and then proceeded to lose 3 and 4, but came back. Was up a set against Harhouse in Toronto just the week before last, and then came back to win that. So what that shows about him is that Edberg's just not going to roll over him. It's always a good sign if you can almost, in fact, more difficult, having been ahead, the opponent drawing level, for you then to surge again.
So he can break back here.
Well, he struck a few of those lobs, and interestingly, you would have heard Henman blowing this one out. That appealed to the crowd. Well, this is yet another save break point by Edberg. These are the 10th, 11th and 12th break points that Henman's had on him and hasn't taken.
Edberg gets out of this, I think the way ahead might be for him a good deal less troublesome. Wonderful. Really wonderful.
Looking a little rooted there, but somehow he felt and managed to get a stairway up to the stars. How he did it, I don't know. Look at him getting up for this. I didn't think he had that sort of strength.
A lone voice, wonder if you heard it. Screamed out, very English tones that. Come on, Tim. Another chance for him to break back.
Break point number 13 for Henman. And the Edberg serve.
It was good, wasn't it? Yes, was good. And on the forehand, a man of less courage would have ducked out of attacking the ball quite like that, taking such a risk, going so close to the line. How was it? He's broken back. Well, there you are. That was a terrific effort by the lad. It really was. He went boldly for the lines. He did so certainly on the other forehand when it wasn't the sort of shot that he always manages to bring off, and he knows it. And yet, though that may be lodged deep in his mind, he went for his shot.
Yes, overruled by umpire Marino, and justly too, because certainly out. I thought those last 2 points of the previous game by Henman were quite phenomenal. Huge shots.
2-all full set. 15 love. Oh, that was close. It's out.
We'll talk about a chopped forehand. That sounded like an axe on wood. Terrific timing.
Henman is winning a lot of fans out here from people who really came to pay homage to Edberg. I think the old champ's still their man, but they like what they see in the youngster.
Well, what this is it gives Edberg such a difficult shot because of the handsomeness of Henman's play. Really use those hands.
2-all 30-all. And his sudden recovery took a scuppered here.
Yes.
Yes, it's head-shaking stuff for somebody like Edberg, who would expect a player perhaps just to fold a bit then, or push the serve in. And that's where Henman shows his qualities, first with a deft little backhand and then with a big serve.
And work hard, as I remember it, because of a pushed volley that missed the sideline right at the start of this game. Serve really had no penetration, was a bit short. Edberg's an old enough hand to know he can gobble those up. There's a point for him for 3-2. Again through, no hint of pushing that forehand.
No, it's terrific stuff, isn't it? Some might say, well, he's got nothing to lose, but that's baloney, because there's a lot at stake here.
Yes, it isn't true, to put it another way, it isn't true he's got nothing to lose, Henman, because he genuinely has always thought he could win the match. He still thinks so, I believe. He's not out here just to make a good show and go home and everyone saying, oh, you did jolly well to go to 4 sets. And another forehand cracked by Henman. And he goes to 3-2, 4th set.
3-2, 4th set.
He was playing well, and a nice smile. That's good. They'll like that. The crowd will like that. The other thing is that he had the security in himself to call for the trainer then. I like that. He's got to be careful, having said that, not to lose his concentration. Quickly to regain his momentum, because he was going well. Edberg's 2-3 and 2 sets to 1 up.
Well, you just know he picked that. He had anticipated the wide swinging serve, made his move just before Edberg struck it. Nevertheless, the timing was sweet as well. Tell you what, it didn't really matter anyway, because Henman had hit a clean winner off the backhand. Well, that's quite an outstanding point, because with Henman coming in behind it and he hit the chip well, it's so easy for the serve volleyer to take his eye off the ball and watch the man bearing in towards him.
Yes, but we can read on Edberg's face what he thinks about that. There's more dash, more daring about Henman at the moment. He looks really quite fresh.
Has those rackets strung at about 64 pounds, does Henman. Strings seem to do quite a bit of moving.
Yes, very good. 3 games all. 4th set. And up on the Floodbit pylons, the lights are on. So that the match, if it goes on, or certainly for the other matches, will pass almost without anyone noticing. Well, they'll notice. But it won't be so marked from daylight to artificial light. The worst of the heat is subsiding.
Yes, and the shade on the court now is uniform and cooling in itself.
For service.
He got to that quickly enough, did Henman. The trainer did his job well.
Yes, quite like to see you out there with the trainer ripping you around like that. I think there may be a few squeals.
I didn't have the nerve to ask him to come out through. He's certainly looking very sharp indeed at the moment, is Henman. He's got a lead of 4-3 in the 4th set. Distance and his renewed vigour, it seems to us. But he's also creating problems outside. You can't see it, but outside the centre court stadium, the night crowd are starting to arrive, ready for a start in just about an hour's time. It'll be a big crowd as well. It has been every night, but tonight Philippousis and Sampras. And somehow what the security people have to do is to keep the night crowd from surging in until the day crowd, that's the people watching this, have had their fill.
Yes, and I think if they keep that crowd at bay, A lot of people will wish that they'd been down at the Olympics organising matters down there. Well, neither of these two is particularly shy at the moment. They're only wrapping their shots.
That's for all. Fourth set. Never a hint of Henman capsizing. Not the merest suggestion. But wonderful resilience.
Yes, with that love game, once again their evenness is highlighted, because it's the fourth love game for Edberg, and of course Henman's had 4 love games. Gives you a real breather if you win it to love.
Edberg reading this beautifully at the moment. I think he senses, perhaps it's just instinct, perhaps it's experience, an amalgamation of the two. He senses that if just here now he can take the youngster by surprise, and basically that's what he's done by chipping the return and coming in and saying, go on, pass me, I dare you. He's taken the initiative here.
Well, it's the missed first serves again. Henman not putting much bounce onto it, and Edberg just guiding it wide of him, so that it's almost a tired stretch.
As he did it time and time again. You can see from Edberg's reaction, that most understated of men, that he sensed that that was it. I think it might have been it too. And the crowd sense that they can carry their man through on a surf wave of support.
Well, he's going to have to serve well, there's no doubt about that, Edberg, because Henman, like Edberg did in that rally, with his pumping actions as a result of breaking, Henman's going to come at him. We've seen it, and we've seen too that Edberg will take advantage, particularly now if Henman misses those first serves. 4 missed first serves in the game. It really hasn't been a good game serving-wise from Henman. He's percentage still under 50%, 39% in this set. And against a man who likes to pounce on the return as much as Edberg, that's a real mistake. Given, too, that early on in the match, Edberg wasn't his usual self in that department. He's improved as he senses the match is within his grasp.
Since it's the end, or just about. The priority for Henman, who's such a mature match player, is that he must make every possible service return that he can. That above all.
You get the feeling, although he mishit it slightly, Henman, that he's not dwelling on it. He's looking ahead to the next point.
3 match points for a place in the quarter-final. Well, there you are. You can see how much that meant to him. Edberg goes through to the quarterfinals. He'll play Ivanisevic there. The last chapter of his Grand Slam story is not yet written. The crowd are giving him the most wonderfully warm applause when he hoists the ball into the sky. No dishonour, no disgrace for Henman. He did wonderfully well to take this man to over 3 hours and lose to him in 4 sets, having won the first set.
Yes, it was, I thought, a terrific match to watch. It wasn't sustained all the way through, although, of course, there was such a lot of British interest. I think Henman's opportunity went in the first game of the second set when he had those 5 break points on the Edberg serve. Had he done that, who knows what might have happened. But we know that Henman served poorly, and he of really a very good serve, so that it's not a common weakness of Henman's. It's something that he can really improve on.
So Henman was a quarter-finalist at Wimbledon. In the 4th round of the US Open, it took Edberg to beat him.
And so the 6 times Grand Slam champion Stefan Edberg continues his progress.